So thank you for raising that and actually setting up a point that I was hoping to make in the course of this session. So one of the things as part of UNESCO that we have currently, in fact, the first lot is set up. I want you all to try and save this website on your phones or whatever called sixthspace.org. sixthspace.org. So this was set up about 6 months ago. It has 6 sections. It has research-based content, it has youth voices, communication centers, workshops and training, policies and institutions, students and teachers. And the objective of this website, which has been set up by UNESCO MGIP and the main UNESCO in the Asia Pacific region, is as to act as a resource for people out there who might want reliable, validated information on dyslexia. So if you are a parent or a resource person, you want to access the latest research, you want to find a community center that might be close to you where you can actually take your child, if you want to form a community group. It also has a place where, like the young man who spoke yesterday, how youth voices who dealt with dyslexia come forth and talk about their stories on how they've dealt with different things. It's a combination of factors as well as a forum for forming different communities. So if a group of you want to discuss and advocate a particular idea, it also has a forum for that linked to it, whereby you can generate such a discussion. There is a group of actually 3 experts who have been identified across the world who will validate all the information that is put on that website before it becomes publicly available. So this could be research done in India, in the United States, in South Africa, in Sri Lanka, and it's submitted to the website. Anybody can log in and create an account, and anybody can add information there. However, before that information becomes public, it is validated by somebody to make sure that if that information is read by other people, it actually has a backup and has a basis. So please start using this, and hopefully in the course of maybe another month, I will reach out to those of you who would like to be actively associated in moderating information on this website. For example, this conclave is something we could have put on that website and generated more conversation, and or there's a new therapy that's just come out and you want to share that with people, or as the legislation goes forth, can we bring in more people? So one of the things I've been trying to do is to bring Ministry of Health, Ministry of Social Empowerment and Justice, and Ministry of Education at the same table to try and discuss the Disability Act for SLD. We're almost on the verge of having it, and I hope we can have that. But that's where a body like the United Nations comes in handy, because they're supposedly impartial, okay, and the government is willing to talk at that table. But start using this and adding on to this resource, and from January there's going to be a person dedicated to it. So this will gather some more steam. But please contribute to it and use it, and tell people about more ways, things that you could do on that. So that's something we could start on. Between you and me, I think it's a little premature right now to think of a journal, but I would like, if we, because of again, we've discussed this at multiple READ conferences earlier. Many of you come forth to talk about the children you have worked with or seen changes in. If we can start developing ways of documenting some of that data, that research will begin to come out anyway. But we must preserve the sanctity of research. It has to be rigorous. So that's something we want to keep in mind.
There's one more suggestion I could make. I'm not really aware about the procedure of getting an RCI registration. So I'm not aware of it. So my question is, for those people who are applying for the RCI registration, can research grants be provided to, let's say, a rehab psychologist or a special educator for doing research in academic difficulties?
Yes. The Department of Science and Technology has an excellent section called the Coveted Sciences, under which you are encouraged to apply for a research grant. But there are certain requirements. You need to be affiliated with a professional institution, because once a research grant is given to you, it's provided to the institution, not to the individual. And you have to provide evidence that you will be capable of conducting that research. So there are excellent opportunities available, and there's a ton of information available online. They have regular calls for proposals. That's how, in fact, we conducted the DALI project also. It was funded by the Department of Science and Technology.
Thank you.
Good evening. I have a little question. I mean, we're talking about methods, we're talking about policies, but last 18 years I've been working with children, and number of children that come up with so many problems like emotional disturbances, or they are disruptive in school or at home, they're rebellious, and a lot of children are associated with learning problems. So now they're just being curbed, or they're being like ignored or left out, and we just need to look at this very seriously, because during summer vacation there was one kid whom I've been working with last 3-4 years, and he developed some problem in school, and unfortunately he didn't get a positive support from the school, and this child actually attempted suicide. So he was saved in time, and I feel that this is very, very important for special educators, for psychologists, for all professionals in this field to actually come down to think. I mean, I just have a suggestion that I've been working with children and teaching them basics of Vipassana meditation. So meditation has helped a lot of my students, and it is working very well with them. And I just wanted to, make a suggestion. If the government can have this thing as like part of curriculum, they have a lot of fitness, they have recreation, sports, and all sorts of extracurricular activities. But where are we concerned with the mental health of this child? There are a lot of children going through a lot of problems, and we as professionals in this field, we need to make some change and make some way somewhere. So my suggestion is that, we all together could probably make a petition, or if somebody can take it up to the government, that it should come to all mainstream schools where we are seriously working on mental health.
Ma'am, point well taken, and we've got 2 psychiatrists on the panel, so the point is extremely well taken. But I think there is a little different point from what we're doing. Today we are talking about how to put SLD and the issues associated with this. Mental health for all children, SLD or otherwise, is a burning issue. And I think for that there is a lot of work being done. There are a lot of people who are working on it to see how we can improve the resilience of our children,
right,
so that they don't, it's better to go to prevention rather than trying to cure. So there is another forum that is already working. We will convey that. Even from here we got this information,
yes,
and convey it to that forum which is already working.
Actually, there are a lot of children with learning difficulties.
Sure, overlap is very high.
Yes.
So that's why we are here.
So it was basically, I wanted to convey that. I mean, there are children whom I'm working at my middle center, where they have learning difficulties, and a lot of children who have dyslexia, they have a lot of problems, and we don't deal with that. We just deal with the academic or the
And point taken.
Yes.
Point taken. Very high occurrence of neurodiversity. Where is he gone? That there is. We should not use the word comorbidities, he said, but there is a lot of things happening at the same time, and we should look at all of it. All right. Thank you.
Can I say something? Yeah. So while we are talking about assessment and minimum standards for assessment, to certify a child, I would request you to put in a form makes it compulsory for the class teacher or the school teacher who in whose class the child is to fill out certain important criteria. Because this child is spending around 6 hours minimum in school, the class teachers are responsible for that child. If the child is suffering in school, sometimes the teachers also say that we are suffering because we don't know what to do with this child, right? And sometimes their inputs are far more helpful than a battery of tests that you may be doing in a short period of time, because that is how much you know the child. So this teacher who's known the child for say for 2 or 3 months minimum could give it some information that will be helpful to make an intervention plan later on as well. So I hope that this is also included in the assessment.
Yes. Like Nandini said that something is already existing is always nicer to make it happen. So from what I remember, I think SATT has a behavior checklist which I do have it with me. So and that's a lovely one for a school teacher to use. It's already existing.
Not talking about a checklist or a screening tool. What I'm talking about is the qualitative information about the child when the child is sent for testing. So,
I think we want to hear of points that have not been addressed so far. We have primarily been meandering between assessment, testing, certification. Is there something else which you really think should be tabled and is not being discussed?
I have a question from the point of view of children in the need of care and protection. Now, in that case, who should take the ownership of the entire process of assessment and remedial and make sure that this happens? Because all this while we are talking about children who have parents. What about those, who belongs to that strata?
The government or the organization which is really where these children are is what I would think.
The government is supposed to.
The state, as they call it.
They don't do it yet, but that's what it's supposed to. That's why the law is important.
I don't see any CWC taking steps for it and taking a child to the government hospital and then the entire process. That's the big question.
No, there are people who come, maybe not through the CWC, but the different organizations, including NGOs who are, they do pitching. Whoever's taking care of the child, many of those organizations do bring the children. What you're saying is absolutely right, because follow-up for multiple assessments is an issue. But that, now multiple times we have discussed that, right? So yes, the government and whichever organization is taking it. Yes, we have one more question.
Ma'am, when it comes to concession, we have many concessions for SSC kids, for ICSE, CBSE, but learning disability kids who are going for Pratham A, B and C, they are not given any concession. She talked about the concessions.
She's responding to that. What are you saying? I didn't hear at all.
Okay. I learned about the concessions provided by the Maharashtra board. Right? Now CBSE board doesn't provide any similar concessions. So can't we have a similar structure for all the states and for all the boards?
It would be wonderful if it was that easy. Because that CBSE has been told of that. I know of this. Has been told that there is something that Maharashtra does and has been put forward. That is up to now CBSE to take it up.
So there's nothing that we can do.
The sad part is that this will happen even it happened even in court. So we were arguing the same child who has a learning disability is today in ICSE gets this provisions. He shifts to NIS, the set of provisions changes. He then goes back to HSC, different set of provisions. And the poor child is combating with all of that. It's the same difficulty, the same child. It's just that the boards are different and their outlooks are different.
So something
There is no
common
way to
cannot
say,
be worked
you
out.
cannot say that every board should have a uniform policy, because boards have different ways of curriculum that have been passed. They have been given the choice.
But for example, like particularly for mathematics, the child who comes in say 7th and 8th grade, they study maths of 6th standard. Something like the board and curriculum might be different, but the similar pattern can be followed by even CBSE. Why can't we do that? It will benefit the student, because we see that in mathematics, children.
We will keep trying.
Yeah, that's what.
We don't have a uniform system or standard of education either, right? Okay. The very fact that we have different boards, we don't have uniformity. So similarly, even in giving the provisions, there is no uniformity. We're going to try and work towards it, but it's an arduous task. Thank you.
I had a question.
Okay, the question about Pratham, you were saying that for the open basic education there are no provisions, right? Okay. Pratham is an NGO, right? And it has come up with a curriculum. Pratham is an NGO working with underprivileged children, and they came up with a curriculum because they found that quite a few children who were in special schools. So basically, the open basic education is not for special needs children. Okay. It is for children who are not able to go to schools on a regular basis, who are forced to, into labor, and the special schools adopted the Pratham curriculum. You understand? So they have adopted because they found it to their advantage, and then the special needs schools felt that okay, now we should get provisions for our children, so they want the curriculum to be simplified, modified to suit the needs of their children. All right, so it's something which is being debated, because I have been I'm closely working with Pratham, and they also want to come out with an assessment tool to identify children and come up with certain intervention programs. So they are working on that area, but the thing is that it all depends, because see, how you work with the children is entirely dependent on how the teachers are evaluating the needs of the children, and are those children actually ready for the Pratham curriculum, right? So what provisions will you give and to what extent? But they are talking to the board. They are talking. So if something happens, you will know about it.
I had a suggestion. Like in our school, when I was in school a long time back, there were many issues with students with special needs, like especially for learning children having dyslexia and all that, where the kid used to feel very insecure in the mainstream classes as well. And there were many issues. So we were in the student council where we, as peer educators, we would go and do something for awareness and all. So what I felt was that if certain strategies can be made part of the curriculum to impart inclusive education in the school with the children, from elementary classes, like in therapies, and something can be brought about, so that it starts from beginning. So that was just a suggestion.
So you are talking about awareness workshops. Is that a workshop? School curriculum should include a part which talks about inclusive and diversity, and I thought that quite a few curriculums have included that.
With the students, basically.
Yeah, with the students.
Yeah.
Morning, everybody. Good evening, sorry. Actually, it's from my, I've been working with these students at a school from last 1.5 years. And I have a question like, how can we incorporate parents' cooperation in this loop? How can we get them in this loop of remediation and everything? So is there
programs for parents,
Okay.
both at our centers and at schools when the schools request it, but the request has to come from the school.
Okay. So teachers are also included in that?
Yes, but we do them separately. It's
Okay.
separately for teachers, separately for students, for parents, because they are very different programs.
Okay. Thank you.
I think.
Can I just answer that if that's okay? So I'm working with Bombay Cambridge International School and Lady West. I'm the head of the care center there. And the question was about how can we involve the parents? I think the best step for y'all to take would be that y'all start having parent workshops. If y'all are not able to collaborate and get people from outside, why not? And for parents, they just need information as to what to do with their child. They don't need to know something more. They just need that basic understanding about ये बहुत मस्ती करना करूँ क्या, so that's what you need to do. And yes, if you have a class of 500 students, you can't expect all the 500 parents to be there. It will start with only 5 maybe. But then if you're reaching out to 5 parents, the 5 parents will definitely reach out to 20 more. And that is what I have learned from my work. And I think it's a very good way. Of course, MBA has wonderful workshops for parents and teachers. But then if you cannot do that, at least start off by doing it yourself.
That's a very good point, because after all, whatever we do would be a one-off, but it would need to be taken forward by the special educator within the school.
We've been discussing very important points that Puriel is saying, but let's try and get back to this, because this is a time where we can talk about what do you want in the policy. This need not come in the policy, these are things that we are doing at our level, how we can help each other, how we can get it done. But there are any other important points that were either discussed or not discussed which need to come in the policy?
While we are talking about provisions and everything else, the policy should also enforce that remedial intervention should happen in such a way that it's recorded, and so when the child comes in for provision later on, it's just not because they came at 9th and 10th standard level, but there is a history of remedial intervention that went in for the child, because tomorrow we are looking at a child who's going out in the world and becoming independent. We are looking at productive members of the society. Somewhere along the lines, I think the policy is not very clear about, we are all jumping for provisions and everything, but the intervention part, I think we're missing out quite a bit on the intervention part somewhere along the line.
No, I think one of the points was that if you read the PWD, it says to improve learning. So that is where intervention comes in. While all those accommodations
It looks very vague, actually, to be very honest.
But it will be. These are broad policies. You cannot make it, nitty-gritty. When you implement it, you should feel that the intervention comes.
So maybe when they're discussing the nitty-gritties, they could make it much more tighter there.
So if we're ready to wind up, I want to do one poll with no questions, no discussion. A show of hands, okay? How many people in the audience think at the end of first year of instruction, at a policy level, we should implement universal screening? How many people in the audience think that at the end of first year of instruction in a school, you should have universal screening? 1 year of instruction in school, formal education. Why is it so difficult to? I thought it's a new statement. End of standard 1, we should have universal screening. So that's a large part of the audience. So is this something you think we should mandate as policy? Yes. Thank you.
Should we end here? We should have a
Can I just make a point about that? Here. If we're going to do mandating screening, we need to make sure that there is then the intervention in place for people who have difficulty. The UK government have got mandatory screening in their phonics check at the end of year 1. What happens is the kids fail it, they do it in year 2. There's no intervention. So don't forget, if you're going to do mandatory screening, there's got to be intervention straight afterwards.
Thank you for that point.
I would like to add to that if we are making it a policy, then we need to convey the criteria or tool or whatever regards to whatever we are assessing, because the schools where there are special educators, but there are so many schools who are not even aware about it. So there has to be some standardized thing that has to be conveyed.
It would be, yes. Most definitely, I agree with you. And I think when they do make these regulations, they usually do make suggestions on what tools can be used or what would be considered valid.
In the SSC board now they have this baseline test happening every year.
No, that
yeah, something like that. Yes. Should be suggested.
Okay.
Talking about Pratham, when Asrat was answering about Pratham, we were told that Pratham is in line with NIOS. It's like a pre-NIOS. NIOS gives exams for 8th pass and 10th pass and 12th pass, and Pratham will give for 5th and 7th. But we hear that Maharashtra is so advanced in everything, but Maharashtra board refuses to accept the 5th pass of Pratham. There is no school leaving certificate, but Maharashtra board doesn't understand that this is an open learning program like the NIOS, and there is no formal school leaving certificate. That is about the 5th pass to appear as private, as external SSC student. After 10th NIOS, when our children go for college again, the state board, they say that NIOS का school leaving certificate लेके आओ. And we tell them that it's an open school and there is no school leaving certificate. So Maharashtra board doesn't accept NIOS. It's with lot of difficulty, lot of correspondence with them that they are accepting. Another thing about Maharashtra, like we heard so much, but practically when I see that the disability certificate, the learning disability, if a child has partial visual impairment, does he need a school SLD certificate to avail of the provisions? If he is partially blind.
No, it depends on the percentage of the
again, the one case that we had in our school, and he was told that, I said, I need a NIR certificate or a SIAN or a KEM. So he went there and he was said that you go to NAB because you are partially blind. He was blind in one eye, and I think about 40% vision.
So, Auntie, if I may interrupt. You know what this is? Sometimes when the forms are submitted to the board, very often the clerk over there doesn't know anything. He doesn't see anything, and he says, "Padne ko nahi aata, NIR ka ya KEM ka SIAN ka certificate." So that is actually miscommunication and unawareness on the part of the person who's collecting it, and that gets sorted out because his vision and all gets sorted out.
When a person has difficulties, 2-3 comorbidity, as we say, that he is visually impaired also, does he need certificate?
Let me add. As of today, then when there is visual difficulty of more than 60%, we don't even assess for specific learning disability. That's one. There is a provision for multiple disabilities put together. Unfortunately, what should be the format, how should we calculate is something that people are working on. It has not yet come. There is a formula that is coming up, which is hopefully we'll hear about soon, how to calculate when there is multiple disabilities. So if a child with multiple disabilities then is having a struggle right now, most of them. Yeah, so right now, whichever disability, suppose his maximum disability is vision, then let that person get all the help for vision.
At least avail of that.
rather than not giving any just because it's a multiple disabled child, right?
Okay, I don't want to get into specific cases, but broadly, another thing what Masrad said, that the Pratham course was never designed for special needs children. Similarly, nor is NIOS designed for. It is an open school. The school dropouts or adults or anybody who have missed out on their 10th for any reason, for illness or whatever, and they're or in villages who cannot attend regular schools, it's for them. But we see that Maharashtra board does not give any provisions for slow learners, and they're forced, they're compelled to do NIOS, which is even difficult for regular students. And a slow
Discussion
learner
outside the purview of our policy.
national
Sorry,
policy.
I really need to put a stop to this question because this is a different, it's at different level. Slow learners and their needs are different. There is another organization working for it.
This is because I was talking about the provisions provided by the Maharashtra board. So there is no provisions for slow learners in Maharashtra board. Another thing which I know it is not about the national policy.
We can discuss that after this on tea because I've gone to other meetings where it was for slow learners and I'll tell you what they are doing and how they're working it out. So I'll get back to you on some of that, but not at this forum.
Okay. I had thought.
One last question.
Hello everyone. I'd like to know about one question. In CBSE online registration of grade 9 students, that we start from grade 9 onwards for grade 10. There, in the handicap thing, there is only dyslexia mentioned. But when we get an opinion certificate from SIAN or NIA or KEM, when they mention SLD, the students who get dysgraphia and dyscalculia, where should we put them? Should we put them under dyslexia? But we don't have anything written in hand. So,
the generic term for these specific learning disabilities very often has become dyslexia.
Right. So, we can put them under dyslexia. We don't want any particular certificate or written thing because tomorrow, when they do the online registration,
They say dyslexia, they mean SLD. Just take it.
Oh, thank you.
I think we really need to wind up now. It's been a very long day, and it's been a very long 3 days. And for some of you who will be coming back tomorrow, a lot of them will be here again, maybe to clarify anything further. But I think everybody really needs to call it a day now. I really thank all of you for staying back for this session, because this session has been, it's an important one for us. It was what we were looking forward to getting feedback from you, to getting opinions from you, and to getting also to know what your concerns are, which we can incorporate into anything that we take forward. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for registering for the 3 days, for being here, and for your enthusiasm, for your inputs. And we hope you will stay connected. Anything that comes out of this conclave or any follow-up action, we will be communicating to you through our website, through our Facebook page, and if it is anything very specific, then we have your email addresses as well. Thank you very much. A big thank you to all the people who have made this possible. I think Kabir has already thanked Mr. Bosco and his team. Also our very nurturing caterer, I have to say, because he's gone way out of his way to add things that we never asked for, which was really very generous of him, and really done a good job of that. Our own staff, who have been extremely attentive and on the ball with keeping everything moving very smoothly. Thank you all, everyone from MDA sitting at the back. And a very big thank you, especially to Divya and Masrat for putting all this together. This is really their show. And with regard to that last suggestion, please put all your suggestions on the feedback form. We don't just collect them, we really do go through them. We collate the suggestions especially, and also whatever feedback you give, so that we could keep that in mind when planning in the future.
Mrs. Karavala has already done it for me actually, but I have prepared a very systematic one, so I'm going to do it again. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. Okay.